Hey guys, today we're working on a 2005 Ford F-150 and we're replacing the intermediate steering shaft. Kind of a common problem if you live in the Rust Belt where we do here in Indiana. You get a lot of salt, snow and all the stuff, and it kind of makes these little universal joints rust and get stiff. You'll start feeling like little rough spots in your steering sometimes when you turn the steering wheel. I sprayed mine down with some liquid wrench, and it kind of made it feel better for a few times, but then you get to the point where you got to change it. So what I started out with here today, if you remove the air and duct system, then I took, you can't really see it, but the lower bottom radiator hose is in the way a little bit.
We'll show it from the bottom.
And we'll show you from the bottom. But I took these bungees, wrapped around that bottom radiator hose, and I pulled it up good and tight out of the way. And I also waited till I was ready to do an oil change, and I took the oil filter out, and that even gave you even more room to see in there. And if you see, we've already worked. I got a flashlight shining on it down there if you can see that kind of a purple socket, and that's what we reached through from the front of the bottom of the front of the vehicle to that bottom nut that's on the bottom of the shaft. And you just gotta take that all the way out, spray it with some lube to help out. A little bit later we're going to get to the top and up here, and hopefully we'll get that shaft out of there nice and good. And it's good if you got a helper. My son is here today helping me, and I can kind of be his eyes and he can do all the laying on the ground stuff. So all right, we're going to see what we can do getting this out of here.
All right, so like my dad was saying, from the bottom here, we have an extension and one that has a joint in it so that you can kind of get a little bit more of an angle on it. The person who's up in the vehicle can turn the shaft up until the point that you can get to that nut. Kind of out of focus here, but you can see it there where the extension's going. I'm laying on the ground and slowly loosening it as he's watching from up top, and you can see he's got the bungees on this radiator cord or radiator hose to pull it out of the way, and also the oil filters out of the way, so that helped out a lot too.
All right guys, he's turning the nut down there. Got it. I'm gonna try to zoom in just a little bit. Maybe you can see that purple socket. Good old Harbor Freight tools, and he's gonna take that nut all the way out. Hopefully it comes all the way out. And once he gets that out of there, I got a flashlight shining on it from the top here. Try to help him out. One thing I should mention important is when you go to put it back together, make sure you got your steering wheel in place where it was when you took it out, so you don't end up putting your everything back together, then your steering wheel's upside down or something. You don't. All right, so now he's got it loose enough down there, he's going to get it with his fingers. One thing about this job, if you've got big arms and hands, it's going to be more of a challenge for you. So if you got
And we're both jacked.
If you got if you got a couple of kids or whatever, you can get out here that's willing to help and save your nut, your bolt, because I think when you get the new shaft, I don't think it comes with the hardware kit. So keep this, clean it up good, and that way you can reuse it.
He's about to turn the wheel. This is why it helps to have a second set of eyes. Keep going. Right there, you're good. So that's why it's good to have a second set of eyes, so that one person can sit in there and turn the wheel while the other person's up here watching to make sure that that bolt is in the right place. Switched over to.
All right, so we had a 3/8 drive ratchet and set up, and that was just not enough. So I switched over to 1/2 inch drive, which gave us a little more torque. And we was able to get that top one loose now, and he's taking it out now. Once he gets it all the way out, we'll hopefully be able to remove the shaft. We'll see how much rust and corrosion is on that. Okay guys, here's what we had to do. You can see now the shaft right there and the other one. And I'll show you better when we get this thing toted out of here. But there's a gap in the shaft itself right there, and you can see I had to take a screwdriver And I drove the screwdriver down into that gap there to open up the shaft just a little bit so it would slide off there a little easier. And that's where we're at right now. So we're going to go ahead and pull it out and show you the shaft once we get it out of there. Reagan, I got some more help out here. My beautiful little granddaughter came out. She's doing her best thing she does, that's ask questions. Anyway, here's this gap I was showing you. And the the bolt goes through here, which squeezes this tight against the shaft. And I just had to drive a screwdriver into that shaft or into that crack right there to spread this apart a little bit, and then it just slid right off. Okay guys, one thing you might want to do to aid when you're putting these old bolts back in, because the new shaft didn't come with new bolts, you might bring it in, screw it in the vise, kind of clamp it down there pretty good, take a wire brush and clean these old threads up. Spray a little penetrating oil in there, or some kind of cleaner, or even maybe carburetor cleaner might help. Take a wire brush and clean these threads up, and that's going to make them go back in a lot easier when you're laying under the truck there, trying to fit your arm and hand up in there and feel with your fingers where the bolt goes. That's just a tip you might try. Okay guys, here's the new shaft that we got and the old one, and you can see the difference in them. One's all rusted up, and we got one here that's brand new, and we're going to be installing that here in a minute. We'll show you how that goes. Okay guys, you can see one of these ends on the inside is shaped kind of like a triangle, and the other end shaped like a square. You can't mix them up. The triangle goes on the bottom, and the square of course would go on the top. So when you feed this in, you want to feed it in from the top. I would assume is going to be the easiest way. Send it in from the top to whoever is helping you out on the bottom, or if you're by yourself, you're going to have to stick it in there and then crawl under the truck and reach up and find it and try to guide it onto the steering box shaft. As you can see, the shaft here, the new shaft, we fed it down through all of the obstacles that they decided to put in our way, and we got it on the bottom down there, and he's right now he's threading the bolt through, and there's a notch, or I guess you'd call it like a groove, that bolt kind of goes through, which helps hold it in place, helps hold it on the shaft down here. And again, that was shaped like a kind of like a roundy type of a triangle, so you really can't mess up and put it in the wrong place. Okay guys, one thing you want to do before you put the top on there, look at your tires, make sure they look straight. Look at your steering wheel, make sure it's straight. And you can finish up the job. You can see right there, I'm going to reach in and just finish shoving it on there. Get the bolt here in my pocket. Thread that through there, like so. I have to push up on it a little bit more. You probably have to jiggle it around there. Now we're in business. And then all we got to do is tighten everything down. Put a few cranks on this, good, get it good and tight. And there we go. And hopefully that fixes the little rough spot I had in the steering. Okay guys, the last step is putting your air induction back on, which is really simple. You just line it up, stick it in this hole over here, give it a shove. And you line it up here, give it a smack. And it just takes one bolt there. It holds everything in place. Once you get that in there, you're done. Take it for a test drive.